Happy New Day, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and watching. A while ago, I had a conversation with a young lady who's in her early 20s. And she expressed some things to me about how she feels about the life that she's living and the programs and the conditioning that she's following, while knowing that it's all a part of the program and it's all conditioning. And she reached out because she wanted some type of clarity, some type of understanding on why she feels the way that she feels when it comes to operating in the matrix and avoiding what she feels when she's not operating in the matrix. And the issue that she was having is that she's chasing or going after all of these things that she's been told to do as far as college and becoming a lawyer or a doctor, following these scripts that we've all, most of us at least, have heard since our childhood. And she admitted that she chooses to stay as busy and as occupied as possible, because when she sits still and when she gets into silence and being by herself, she automatically becomes very, very depressed. And it's because in that stillness and silence and aloneness, she's forced to look at the life that she's living and chasing as a lie for her and not who she truly is. And I explained some things that were in her personal design that gave her a lot of clarity as to why she attracts certain things and why she's drawn to certain things. But overall, she wanted me to share some of the things that I said to her from a more direct and wider perspective of how I see life. And there have been a few other people who I've had personal conversations with who I've pretty much said the same thing to, but this perspective and view that I have is something that I don't know where it came from per se, but it's just how I feel personally. And it seems very logical to me. It makes sense. And it just seems to be the most simplified way for me to understand what life is about, I guess. I feel that, I don't know if this is along the lines of the purpose of life, but I feel that when it comes to the way that I want to live my life, it's about occupying my time in ways that feel as good as possible until the end of this experience. I look at the world that we live in, and that's what everyone's doing in some way, shape, or form, whether they're aware of it or not. We are all just simply occupying our time in whatever ways that we're doing. And you have people that are occupying their time being angry, arguing, being sick, sitting on the couch watching TV, lying in the grass, looking up at the sky, raising children, being married, working a job, going to school, being homeless, being a prostitute, being on drugs, being an alcoholic, doing YouTube videos, having Twitter beefs, or just in general, social media beefs, making music, painting, raising animals, building houses, closing deals, selling cars, fixing cars. I mean, anything that you can think of as an occupation, or just living. It's a way in which a person is just occupying their time, the time that they have left. And I've spoken with older people as well, people who have a lot of wisdom because they've experienced more in their lifetime, and they've seen more, and they have just gained wider perspectives. And me being able to have deep conversations with older people, a lot of them have said that they wish that they would have come to that place of peace and understanding within themselves at an earlier age, as opposed to being older and life kind of coming to a close, forcing them to realize these things. And they find it interesting that me being much younger, I've come to this this understanding, or this feeling, or this perspective. And again, I don't know why, I don't know how. It just makes sense. And when I look at all of the things that I've tried in life, all of the things that I've learned, majority of it didn't really mean anything. Maybe at the time I felt that it did, but just taking like all of the information that I've gathered and just like putting it into one sentence, or just one statement. It's like, hey, I'm here. occupying my time in ways that feel good to me. And that's really all that matters. Whatever comes with that is whatever comes with it. So at any given moment, I may feel that, hey, I want to travel to another country, or I may want to learn about Buddhism, or I may want to go scuba diving, or jump out of an airplane, or dig up some worms in the backyard. I mean, if that's what I move to do because that's what feels right or feels good in the moment, then that's what it is. And a lot of people have gotten to a place of that confusion and that depression or that anxiety because instead of learning how to occupy their time based on what feels right for them, they have been trying to, or they have been occupying their time based on what they've been told by some type of external source. And in doing that, it has pulled them further and further away from what feels good. And that is what causes the sadness and the depression and the confusion and everything that a lot of people are experiencing. And once you feel enough of that, you feel this need to get back to self. And you're hearing that a lot more these days. People that are openly saying, I need to get back to myself. I need to find out who I am. I need to figure out what's right for me. And that's because we all are terminal. We're all living in these vehicles that are terminal. And whether we acknowledge that or not, is built in, so we can't help but know it at some level. And you have so many things out here that are influencing the way that we think and the way that we act. And it's pulling us in so many different directions because of the overstimulation of everything, the overstimulation of seeing what so many other people are doing and having access to experiencing other people's lives, whether it's true or fake. The fact that you're able to see something that stimulates you and makes you feel like, ooh, I want to do that, or ooh, I want to try that. If you aren't grounded within yourself first and you don't know how to listen to your vehicle, which is the only reason you're able to have this experience, then it's extremely easy for people to lose themselves, which is what we hear all the time. And many people are now trying to rediscover themselves or find themselves for the first time. When you've been operating according to what's been pulling you from the outside all of your life, it's not easy to face yourself when you get to that place of knowing that you need to face yourself. It's easier when you've made the decision and you're like, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to turn my attention away from all of these things that have been controlling me and now focus on myself. It's not easy, and it can be very scary, which is what this young lady was expressing to me. And even the older people, they expressed how they just followed what their parents told them. And the older generations, you definitely see more submissiveness in the way in which they operate. you don't really see a lot of the older people expressing that they had a mind of their own and they chose to go against what their family was doing or what their religion was doing, or you don't really hear a lot of that. So the older people that do get to that place to where they realize, wow, you know, the world is completely different than what it was when I was growing up. Even though it's harder for them to connect to the younger generation, there are some of them that get it and they accept that this is a different era and that things will never be how they were before in the earlier generations. So for me, in looking at all of the things that I've learned and realizing that a lot of it didn't mean anything, what did was the information that helped me to empower myself the most. And again, I have to give credit to learning about my blueprint, learning about human design, because I've never felt so in tune with myself before learning my own human design. I never felt this deep of a connection with my body and the intelligence of it. And even though it's terminal, I have an understanding that if I operate outside of what it's telling me to do, I'm going to be occupying my time in a way that makes me feel like I'm suffering. And the fact that I have the ability to know the difference between what suffering is and what feeling good is, I really can't help but to operate according to what feels the best. Because just thinking about it from a logical perspective, if you know the end game for all of us, why suffer the whole journey? Or why suffer the majority of your journey to that finish line? And that's what a lot of people have done, especially when we look at the older generations, we see the state that a lot of them are in health-wise. And there's nothing in me that resonates with being sick and being on all types of medications and being in a body that isn't working right. I can't really imagine that. And I don't want to experience that. And I know that in living according to what is feeling good in each moment and avoiding the things that are not going to feel good, that will keep my body away from frequencies that are ultimately going to make it deteriorate faster. And is going to keep my body from being in conflict with itself. Now, I can't control the things in the atmosphere and the environment that are creating conflict, but I know what I do have some control over, and that is making decisions that are correct for me and my journey and my movement. And that requires honesty. It requires me being honest with what I'm doing that is wrong or just simply not resonating with my frequency. A lot of people don't like to address the end game. But in living life as if you can escape that, that feels like the biggest lie for me. If I try to live that way, that feels like the biggest lie. Because in acknowledging your truth and acknowledging your body and its intelligence, for me, it's like you have to acknowledge the whole program. You have to acknowledge the whole cycle. And in ignoring that aspect of who you are, it creates internal conflict within yourself, because you're trying to psych yourself out from the ultimate truth, and that penetrates everything that you do in your life. So every action, everything that you do is going to be based on you trying to ignore the fullness of who you are in this human experience. You aren't your body, but this reality means nothing without it. I said to someone before, I said, a dream doesn't exist without a body. How can you have a dream without a body? How can you have a goal without a body? How can you accomplish anything human without a body? All of these terms that we throw around and live our lives by, it means nothing without your body, without your vehicle. And the vehicle is living this life. Your mind is observing what the body is doing. The mind isn't here to control what the body is doing, because the body has its life to live. And my awareness, my consciousness is just here to have the experience. But this is not me. It's just what I'm using to have this experience with you and with this world, this planet, whatever this is that we're on. So when it comes to the goals and accomplishing things and just anything that is just a part of the human experience, I realize that the best thing that I can do is just relax. I just have to relax and not be so tied and attached to the programming, to the conditioning. And of course, it takes deconditioning and deprogramming to get to that place of detachment, or, you know, start getting to that place of detachment. But none of this is going with me or anybody else. None of your accomplishments, none of your human physical accomplishments are going with you. And when you're so caught up in becoming this, or having this much money, or gaining fame and fortune, or getting this many followers on Instagram, or whatever, I see it as either a conscious or unconscious fear of the finish line. Because yes, the program has to run, it has to operate. Everyone can't just get to this place of, oh, I'm going to accept and surrender and just let things happen. There has to be all of the things that keep the program running. So there has to be the competition. There has to be all of these things. There has to be this drive to gain something at the top. There has to be, you know, a drive to win something and to, you know, accomplish my goals and dreams. And, you know, that has to be there. But for me, I just look at all of the great people that accomplished the things that so many other people want to accomplish and are chasing. And it's very difficult to find people who were at peace. It's difficult to find people who were overall happy with all of their accomplishments, all of their money and all of their fame. And it's just hard to find people who actually felt good in doing all of that and accomplishing all of those things. And one of the biggest things I look at is, how did those people transition? All of these great people that we look up to and that we want to be like, how was their transition out of here? And there just seems to be a pattern of, no matter how much fame, fortune, awards, no matter how high they were up on the hierarchy of things, they suffered in their last days. They held in very traumatic things for all of those years that we saw them appearing to be happy. So many people are coming forward and sharing their secrets that they've been holding on to because it's been eating them alive all of these years. And there was a time to where, in my young 10-year-old mind and not really understanding the world just yet, I wanted to be rich. I wanted to have a lot of money because my limited perspective as a 10-year-old showed me that people were unhappy because they couldn't pay their bills. That's how I interpreted what I was seeing around me and what I was hearing all the time as a young child. And my solution, my logical solution at that time was, oh, okay, so everyone is unhappy because they can't pay their bills. So what I need to do, I need to become rich so that I can pay everybody's bills and then they can be happy. That was cute. That was a cute thought. But that was my reason for wanting to be rich. I never wanted fame. There was just something about fame that I knew, like, that's not for me. It's too much. I don't want that. But I definitely wouldn't mind having a lot of money so that I can see more people smiling around me. Wasn't long before, you know, that dream just kind of faded away. But now that I'm older and a bit, just a little bit more mature, a little bit more aware, I don't know what I want. And I think I've said this before, but I'm saying I don't know what I want because I'm trying to sugarcoat it a little bit. But it's like I really don't feel that I want anything other than to have whatever experience feels good in each moment, which I don't know what that's going to be because I don't know what the next moment holds. So it's hard to say that I want this or I want that because I know that life is unpredictable. I know that it has many twists and turns, and you can plan for a specific outcome or a specific goal, and it majority of the time just never goes that way. And I've seen that over and over and over again. So it's like I don't have any human desires. And I do feel at peace. Even in my awareness of all of the crazy things going on, and even in my ability to address certain things that we as humans deal with, even though I have my human experiences, and I'm going to have moments to where I'm frustrated and maybe even sad or melancholy, the biggest thing that's always just at the top of my awareness is that I'm just here occupying my time until I get to the finish line. And if I'm occupying my time in ways that don't feel good, then I need to quickly change that. If there comes moments to where I'm in resistance, I'm not feeling good, then that awareness kicks in. And it's like, oh, okay, get it together. Don't put stress on the body. Don't put that tension in the body. There's no need to. You don't want to suffer more than what you have to in this reality that has so many limitations and so many levels of chaos and confusion and very negative, low frequency things and vibrations happening. So overall, it's okay to accept the one thing that we're all guaranteed. Because when you get to that place of acceptance and surrender, and you don't fear it, and you don't look at it as something bad or something that you need to challenge or try to keep from happening, then you release the possibility of your full potential. Because as long as you're trying to hold on to something in this temporary experience, you're not open. You're not open to receive all of the different possibilities that can come your way. And that's why it's difficult for me to try to set goals anymore, or to want a certain outcome, or to have expectations of myself or other people, because that finite way of thinking it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense anymore to say that, you know, I have to accomplish this thing, because it's like, well, what happens once you accomplish it? Like, you say that I want to become a millionaire. Okay. You become a millionaire. Then what? What's next? And it's like, if I could do anything that I wanted to do as a human, I just feel that at some point I'm going to feel that I've done everything that I needed or that I could do, and I'm going to be ready to go. I'm going to say, okay, well, there's nothing left to do here. Guess I can go now. You know, it's like, and there have been people that have said things like that they've had all of the this, all of the that, and there's never truly a satisfaction. There's never a sense of full satisfaction, because as long as you're alive, as long as your body is still functioning and still on its journey, then there's always something new for it to experience. So my mind is like, I feel like I'm like overloading right now. I don't know what's going on. Oh my God. I don't know what's happening right now. I feel like I just went somewhere, and Oh my God. I don't know where I'm going right now. I'm going somewhere. Feel like I'm about to leave my body. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Let me try to just pull myself back. Pull myself back. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do right now. I'm bugging right now. Oh my God. Too much just came in. Like too much information. Just like came in, unlocked. I don't know what just happened, but it's like still happening. And I know I'm looking crazy on this video. Yeah, thank you all for I'm sorry, guys. Thank you all for tuning in and watching. For your mind to shine. Until next time. I'll be back. I think. I don't know. Where's the stop button?